All right, we are live. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Just sitting here drinking my morning coffee, looking sexy as hell as usual. Let's see who we get in here this morning, what we got going on. It's going to be a dynamic effort squat and deadlift day. Going to be lots of bands, lots of chains, lots of posterior chain work. All right, finish a couple more things here. And yeah, get this flowing. Remember to hit the like button as soon as you come in. So yeah, it's later than I thought it was. Thought it was like 7 o'clock. It's already 7:30. It'll be a long day for me. I have a late night consultation call scheduled, so it's going to be a long day. Got to get a new sheet written up. I just took on a new client yesterday. Really, really long time follower. Yeah, trying to keep everything flowing. Keeping everything flowing. You guys remember to follow all of my stuff. Yeah, we already got that first like, so that's good. And hopefully we get some interesting topics here. I don't see myself running this one super long though, unless it really lights up. Right? These need to be interesting. Otherwise, I could be doing another project for 30 minutes. I like to give people the lives, but sometimes there's just not much happening. And yeah. Main thing though, getting those early engagements. That's the real key. That first few minutes, if we don't get engagements, likes, comments, there's no point in running on. That's what I kind of figured out. They just don't pick up enough of the time. But we'll see who else rolls in here. See who else rolls in. All right. And people say, what do you mean justify the time? I'm like, man, I could record a video and I could type a 3-sentence status on Facebook. Being realistic, Or I could sit in here with you lovely people and we actually get it flowing. So, but at least we have likes, so that's good. Off to a start. To see how the dynamic squat and deadlift go. I'm going to do them real DE style today, so it's going to be lighter, lots of volume, fast. Like short breaks too. I don't just mean fast bar speed. I usually do speed work about 30 to 45 seconds between sets. So all that speed benching yesterday was done, in like 10 minutes, right? Took about 10 minutes to get the speed bench done. I also have to think about getting set up faster. I might run the SSB today for the speed squats, just for the faster setup while I'm still getting my shoulders, just that inflammation out. I'm just probably don't want to get under a straight bar a whole bunch over and over. It's feeling a lot better in terms of movement, but I notice my shoulders make a lot more sounds now since I've taken all that stuff out, doing the closed grip benching. They make a lot of weird crackling sounds when I move around more. So it's been interesting. But yeah, it's going to be the goal, get all that range of motion restored. All due to too much wide grip benching. But yeah, the closed grip did great for me for years. So I should have just stuck with it. I should have stuck with what I said for 10 years. Had I just taken my own advice instead of said, let's innovate, let's go a different direction. But yeah, the conjugate will be fun again because then we get to hit all these different performance elements. And I get to discuss a lot of it. Too many people want too many different things out of each modality. And it's like specific. I think I've even seen Burley Hawk point people like, can I do a 3-rep max? No, why? Why would you do a 3-rep max? Why are we doing a 5-rep max on max effort day? Why are you doing that? Morning Atomic, you're not going to get as strong. And if you're like, well, I'm chasing volume, I'm like, well, dude, do 10 sets of high rep band press downs for volume. I mean, you can do sets of 25 on the reverse hyperextension if you want volume. Why do you need volume on that? It's just that regular HEB stuff you guys see me grab sometimes. In the blue bag, the Texas pecan. Although I cut it sometimes with the little Folgers because I can't tell them apart. so I don't clear through it so quick because I forget to restock it. I have one bag of it left now. I'm sorry, we call that a custom blend, right? Now just mix it. I just throw some extra in to make it stronger. Get a little more caffeine. The day after I train chest and my shoulders, these days after I train chest and shoulders, my shoulders fall asleep, get numb when I'm sleeping. Any idea what's causing that? Yeah, you're sleeping on your side. So your shoulders are growing, you're getting bigger. You're gonna have to be real careful how you lay on them. Really, Atomic, I'm not veiny at all, dude. Like I see like none compared to normal. But it's also cool. It's like 41 outside and don't have the heat up. So again, it'll be really ridiculous coming up once it gets hot here. I already know what happens. I'm gonna be stupidly vascular. Right? Even when I'll be sitting around the one you already see up my arm, like it'll look like that up my legs and everything. Get all veiny. We get all hard and vascular. So yeah, I'll chip away at the body fat still too. Keep chipping away at that. Do the fasted cardio, the fasted training. Keep those carbs in check. We see some interesting comments too. Like someone said this morning, I love me, but you can't compare crop deaths with factory farming, and it's just kind of like, yeah, you totally can. Like, what a delusional stance. Like, people want to stand there and pretend. Like, these are people who've never lived on a farm. They know nothing about where their food comes from. They really think that the way that animals are slaughtered in a factory farm is not more humane than the deaths in your field, the mice and the rabbits. Dude, it's way more humane. Way more humane. Sorry, that's reality. Again, people with no experience, like, what do they think happens out there in the field with the crops? And they're like, well, it's not on purpose. It is on purpose. When people are poisoning all those animals out there, when you poison all the rodents in the field, telling me it's not on purpose? You think that's a pleasant death of the 10 million animals in your field? Or when the combine runs through? Come on, guys, shut up. People are stupid. And it's the problem is, the problem is with that concept. People are literally losing sight of the fact that, yes, life feeds on life. And I'm not saying it's an amazing thing, but I'm saying it is reality. And you're going to have to get over it. There's going to be death and suffering with your existence. And that's why I clown the vegans for it. They really think they're going to take it to zero. And I'm like, the only way that's going to happen is if you die. That's it, dude. So, they could feed themselves to a bear. They should choose the bear. There's your solution. So realistically, if you really go down that rabbit hole of the vegans of animal suffering, it's going to be a black pill nihilist. There is no hope. If you really look at it objectively. But for them, it's not about that. That's what people forget. For vegans, it has nothing to do with animal suffering. They don't actually care, the majority. It is about being morally superior to other people. That's what they care about. I'm convinced of this. 90% of people who go vegan who really think these things through, they don't care about animals. They care about righteous indignation and being better. It's important to them to feel morally superior to their fellow human beings because a lot of them hate people. They draw a lot of sociopaths in, honestly. Like Vegan Games. He doesn't care about animals. Dude's a sociopath. He cares about proving that he's morally superior to humans and that he hates people. Well, no, he hates people. So let's get over. You lifting today? Yeah, dude, we're lifting. It's going to be dynamic effort squat and deadlift. That's right. Peppermint says, drop a like for that to get them likes up. Can you design a program for someone without barbells? It would be the amount of money they would pay me to design it. They could go buy a barbell. I mean, Cliff, sure, we could design stuff for whatever equipment you have. But realistically, if you're serious, you're going to get barbells. You're never going to reach anywhere near your full potential without some real equipment. You're just not. It is to say I couldn't get a beginner started at Planet Fitness on a dumbbell only and machine routine. Sure. But that's a full gym full of equipment, and they're choosing to go to Planet Fitness instead of a gym with barbells. Makes sense. There's one right down the street. They just got to drive another block. Problem solved. They're choosing to be in that environment. Okay. So then I think people forget with these situations. So that doesn't work. So really, I'm assuming someone's at a home gym with minimal equipment. Well, you're going to have to upgrade that. You're just not going to get that far without proper stuff. You're going to have limitations. Coach, why are weight plates so expensive? The cost of metal, dude. The cost of metal, the cost of machining it. I mean, Peppermint, do you really think you're going to go look at pricing metal? Like you're like, well, I'll just go buy 500 pounds of metal till you go to a scrapyard and realize how much it costs. Dude, that's just for scrap metal. You're like, oh. And you're still paying for casting and machining, even on the cheaper iron plates. When you go to those calibrated plates I have, that's machined steel. So yeah, what you're looking at is the cost of the metal. I moved to a new place, no barbells at community gym, pick up bar benches and dumbbells up to 65 pounds. I mean, Cliff, I could, my call rates, they're $100 an hour. I design programs for people in the middle of those calls. We sit down and design programs. So, I mean, I could totally do it. If you want to get a call scheduled, hit me up on Facebook. We'll pay for it ahead of time, get it scheduled. We come in and I will map out a full program for you. So that's where I write programs. People are like, do you write programs? Yes. No, I don't write them. I talk them through with you and you write them. I do it all the time. I probably do 10 of those every year, just in calls for people who don't want full-time coaching or can't afford it. So I do it all the time, homie. So hit me up. Like I have a call tonight. Someone I've done one before with. I've done a couple hours already with. So yeah, absolutely. Also get those likes up for Daddy. They're coming along. We're getting some. Let's get a few more. Coach, could AI ever get smart enough to write fully lifting programs that people make gains on? Hey, Peppermint, I'm going to ask you a question. With my tech knowledge, notice my amazing tech skills. They're just phenomenal, right? Do you think I have the background to answer that question? Do you think my education in direct technology and computer programming is high enough for me to know the answer to the question? Or do you just want my gut instinct? My gut instinct, no, of course not. It's stupid. They're not people. They'll never have the interpersonal skills to do that. And if AI gets intelligent enough to outsmart human beings, we are fucked. So by the time AI gets good enough to actually write customized programs based upon your mindset, psychology, your feedback, and can actually coach people, we're pretty much at Terminator at this point. AI can go ahead and just take over and decide to clear us out or replace us at that point, if it's so inclined. So that's the least of our worry. Your coaching jobs, guys, are the least of your worries at that point. At that point, we need to be thinking about how are we going to get through the armor of the Terminators. That needs to be a higher priority. Do you have tungsten steel AP rounds? Do you have armor-piercing incendiary rounds? Are you ready to take down the robots? That needs to be your concern at that point. Your concern needs to be is, can we survive as a species in this war? But probably not, because then AI will be smarter than us. So we're probably going to be extinct anyways, realistically. Sorry, a lot of brilliant minds have warned us not to do this, and yet we persist in doing it, right? Because we think that we can control it. It's just like recently we had scientists get together and admit they banned a certain type of research. I saw it recently dealing with creating artificial. They realized we could do it. We could replicate artificial bacteria cells. And essentially, you probably read up on that since you do science journals, right? So I saw the write-up on that, and they essentially agreed we are banning this type of research because if this gets out of control, it could be the extinction of the human race within a year if we mess it up. This can't be done, right? Because again, introducing artificial bacteria that get loose into the ecosystem. I've had enough biology. I think from what you said, you've had enough biology. That is not a good thing. Completely artificial bacteria that we have no history or immune system to deal with in any way, anywhere through our evolutionary history. Maybe let's not accidentally create this and release it. Because you and I both know, like I have a really good friend who works at a biomedical lab. And as she said, yeah, it's amazing anything gets contained. Anywhere. She's like, Jesus. My coworkers, oh my God. ChatGPT told me I would be happy to something for me once. What? I've always been against AI to see potential. We won't be extinct. Me smart. The introduction of AI was a commitment step to the eventual demise of humanity. Yeah. I mean, that absolutely is. Hey, Cliff. Cliff, I gave you a whole spiel about I write programs in the consultation calls. So hit me up in a call and I program with you. You said, can I write one? No, I don't write them. I get in calls with people programming who can't afford coaching, and you write it down while we break down what your needs are, what you have available. So hit me up for a consultation, Cliff. That's why I linked my stuff again. Message me on Messenger. They're $100. And I do lots of programs that way. Lots of them. What carries over better for overhead press? Incline bench or seated barbell overhead press? I mean, are we talking specificity of training? Probably the seated overhead press. Incline bench will build your overhead though. But what's most likely to be your limiting muscle on your overhead press? So Francis, are you looking for movement pattern carryover? Are you looking for building up your weakest links? Hey, Cliff, with what you have listed as equipment, I would say it would be worthwhile to go to a bigger gym. I mean, I'll be happy to write one for you in a call, but right. Hey, Francis, nothing wrong with that, but you have to think about the nature of the question. That's like asking, what's the best way to increase your bench press? Okay, so if your weak link is triceps, Francis, if your weak link is triceps, why are we looking at other big compounds to fix it and looking for carryover? Why don't you work on your triceps? Stop thinking a movement pattern carryover and start thinking muscles now. Like if you know you've identified a weak link, then build the hell out of your triceps. And don't think of it, those triceps in terms of, hey, where's my movement pattern carryover? You listed one. If you're you said you want a big overhead press, okay? A big overhead press. You're only going to do one type of tricep exercise when you've identified it as the weak link. Why don't you do 3? Why don't you do 4? And no, you're not going to build triceps off just skull crushers. Your tendons won't survive it. You can work them into the rotation. I can promise you right now, if triceps are a weak link and you try to use skull crushers as the only thing you do for them, you're going to be coming back pissed at me because your elbows are going to hurt for the next year. So, see where we're going? Maybe some closed grip pressing, some closed grip incline, some weighted dips, dumbbell extensions, laying extensions, band extensions, cable press downs. Build your triceps. How about, here's a big one. This is stuff I've had some of my former conjugate guys do. Are you ready? How about speed overhead presses against bands or chains for dynamic effort? Yeah. Because when you say a big overhead press, I assume you're already strong and you're like, I'm trying to get a big overhead press. It's difficult to set up with chains. Then you don't want a big overhead press. I mean, come on, dude, jump in there, get it done. Bands and chains belong in the bedroom. That is a good place for them too. As far as the hammer strength makes some of the better machines. So, I mean, if you really were going to drop 50 grand on machines for your home gym, I think hammer strength is a good choice, but make sure that you get the good stuff like a reverse hyper and stuff too. Right. But no, Francis, I'll give you a hard time about the difficult to set up. Yeah, it's not necessarily easy, but it can. You just need enough lead. Not a big fan of hammer strength machines. Yeah, I think as far as machines go, they're good. Thoughts on Joe DeFranco, coach? I always liked Joe DeFranco. Above 220 is generally considered good. Maybe looking at a leg press and a chest press to start with. The chest presses are okay, but what's wrong with dumbbells and barbells? Jason, Swiss bar hurts my lower back. Well, if it hurts your back, then don't do it. Certain types of overhead press will hurt your low back. You have to adjust your stance to deal with it. Mainly looking at a leg press and a chest press to start with, right? All right, let's get a few more likes, guys. Come on, give Daddy some likes. We're at 10, but we need a few more of those. Get those likes up. Don't make me talk all sexy to y'all. Daddy wants some more likes in here. Make sure my volume is good. Volume is good. Personal preference, I prefer a quality chest press machine instead of bench pressing. Drop my like for Daddy. There we go, review. Appreciate it. Man, OnlyFans has been slow. I haven't picked up any new followers in like 4 days. Come on now. Rufio, why aren't you on there? What's more, probably the overhead press because it's just done less popularly. We care about an overhead press. In terms of strength, they're probably close to equal. In terms of the capacity to build them, the amount of work you'll have to do. They're relatively comparable, but because of the popularity, more people bench heavy. 20 people bench heavy for every person who overhead presses heavy. So by default, it's going to be way more common. Hey, Rufia, then why didn't you join if that's what you were waiting for? Have you not been keeping up with what I have on there? It's all pay-per-view. Anything beyond what you're thinking is going to be pay-per-view on there. I send out tons of stuff. I have individual people who've already done like 50, 60 bucks worth of pay-per-view. I have a couple of people who have. I just kick those things out randomly. So it's fairly tame on the main OnlyFans, but all the pay-per-views where anything else is. All right. It's easier to coach guys with strength goals or aesthetic goals. In terms of the programming, aesthetic is way easier. In terms of mindset, guys with aesthetic goals can be problematic depending upon what they have going on. If they have really serious hang-ups around it, it's really a problem. You don't need to ask for my light, coach. I dropped that light for that. Appreciate it, Peppermint. Jason, you loved the press back then. I did. I can't do it anymore. So until my shoulder health returns, it's not really an option. Until I get the AC joint inflammation down, I'm just going to keep close gripping, doing all this stuff to build all of it until I can overhead press. I'll overhead press again. Why have you made another business endeavor? Moke, you can never have enough money. Yeah. And I mean, it's been a slow year for everybody. Like I would say last year economically was my worst fiscal year in like a while, but you just cash in and get everything going. I mean, I still make decent money by most people's standards. Like, it's not like I make something ridiculous, like only 50 grand a year. I couldn't afford to live where I do on 50 grand a year. I'd have to move. But money is money, dude. Money is money. So I'm trying to cash in on everything, trying to monetize everything. And I have no ethical qualms against it. That's the difference. Like anyone who's like, oh, you shouldn't have to, whatever. I don't have a moral issue with it. That's the point. I'm not shy. I'm kind of an exhibitionist. Like, dudes, if it was monetized and it wasn't against the rules, I'd do my workout vlogs butt ass naked and not care. I have no shame other than my garage is open and I have neighbors. Like, I don't care. I really don't. So, are you feeling slight pain in the shoulders? It's lack of mobility. So, Matt, they don't actually hurt. I simply have ranges of motion that my shoulder joints will not go through. Now, I do get pain when I do a dead hang. That actually hurts. But I also started getting the crackling and all that and had the neck pain. The neck pain is gone now, so I feel like I thought it was me sleeping wrong, but when I did more research, it's the AC joint inflammation. Made the crick in my neck way, way worse. I've noticed that's gone. I don't have neck pain anymore, which is good. It still crackles a little though, so I kind of pop it sometimes. But that taught me I am not built for wide grip benching. I'm just not. I'm going to be doing the press for the first time in over a year, and my session tomorrow might be an interesting one. There you go. Right. Well, Atomic, realistically, that's not my most expensive assets. That's the stuff you see in here, but my gym alone. I mean, my car. So that's the thing. Like haters have already run the blue book on my car. I get pictures mailed to me of my own car with my license plate on it. I mean, by stalkers. I mean, they text me pictures of my car. Let's not pretend they don't all know the value of my vehicle or what I drive. So, Jason, you think John Meadows' one arm rows is superior to one arm dumbbell row? No, nope. They're just rows, dude. It's all about what you were trying to get out of the row. I think all rows are good. Let me put it this way. I think all rows are good within reason. What are you trying to get specifically out of it? I've gone over to everything chest supported for my back, mainly because I'm doing so much standing work, max work, building good mornings up. I just don't want the low back fatigue. So that's the stuff that you need to be asking yourself. What do you mean superior? Superior for a set goal? That's like asking what's superior? A hammer, a screwdriver, or a chainsaw? It's tools in a toolbox. Atomic, I'm not going to be specific. But it is a Toyota. That's the brand. I was never into, it's technically not a car like you're thinking, like a sedan. Is a little bigger than that. I was never into wide grip benching. You said life inside the rings is cool enough for me. I've noticed a lot of wide grip benchers have shoulder issues. Yeah. I always said that, and then I decided to go with it, thought I could make it work. Hey, Rufio. Yeah, dude, I have nudes. I have nude videos. I mean, I have stuff up, and then I do custom content. So if you want something specific, it's commission. So, and it's usually funny stuff. It's not even the stuff that people want commission is like taking my shirt off and flexing and bragging type stuff. Or one guy wanted me playing my guitar shirtless. Just silly stuff. No, so it's all there. Wide grip benching never felt right for me. It didn't for me, and I got it to where it felt right, and then the shoulders became an issue. Coach Joe's comment from last night had me rolling. Greg, you said blowing it. Yeah, that was funny. Like I kind of lost it for a minute because of the flow of the conversation. All right. Mark says, are upright rows good? I've had decent growth from side delts, especially on strength on them. Upright rows can be great depending on your shoulder health and how they affect you. Upright rows can be a great overall shoulder builder. They work all three heads of the delts and the upper trap. Right? Biomechanically, it works all those things. It's a good exercise. It's going to depend on what's going on with your shoulder specifically. Some people find it aggravates their shoulders with only certain grips, right? So it's just something to keep in mind, and don't try to turn them into a high pull. I've had clients who, when I give them to them, they start doing crazy stuff with them. I'm like, just keep your elbows up. Stop doing that. That's, this is the way people are going to be. I have some long-term followers or long-term clients who don't follow fitness content, and they don't look at anything. They just want to get results, and they're busy. So they don't learn things, and I have to correct their form a lot. And that's okay. That's why they hire a coach. Thoughts on reverse grip benching, micro trend? I think reverse grip benching is fine as long as your setup is safe and you're not at risk of getting hurt. I recommend if you're going to reverse grip bench, you do it inside of a bench with safety arms. That's my general advice. I don't advocate the reverse grip bench on a normal bench without safety arms and just a spotter. I think that's a recipe for disaster. But if you have a safe setup, I think it's a great exercise. Meadows is dead. Yeah, that is a problem with Meadows. Coach, you planning on doing any content with Alex Viad again? If Alex wants to. Alex hasn't hit me up for any. It's been over a decade. I still chat with Alex sometimes, like on Messenger and stuff every now and then, or on our walls on Facebook. We joked about me going on his podcast at one time for a bit, talking lifting and Warhammer. All right. because he was doing a little bit of one with some of that stuff. Could reverse grip bench be a variation for conjugate? Yeah, but you better know what you're doing. The only problem with reverse grip is a conjugate rotation lift. If you don't practice a reverse grip, it's going to go really badly. Like to max, if you don't normally reverse grip, you don't have lots of practice on it, and you try to hit a 1 rep max, you see where I'm going with this? This could be a problem. So I don't necessarily like it for a max effort variation for that reason. You know, something to think about. Unless you've been doing it as an assistance lift already. So you're used to working 5s or 6s. Because otherwise you're going to be nowhere near your normal max. Like you might have a 325 bench and you try to reverse grip, and a 275 is going to mess you all up. So it's one of those you have to have practice with it, especially the setup and unrack. Like literally, if you don't practice it at all, even a 325 bencher, you may not be able to get 315 out of the hooks reverse grip. You might struggle to get 275 in it out of the hooks because you're just not used to the lift. So just a point of consideration. As someone who's done a lot of reverse grip benching in the past. Do you like bench blocks? They're okay. I have 2 of them. I mean, you've probably seen me use them in the past in conjugate rotations, right? I've done both of them as assistance work and as max effort work. Mm-hmm. I mean, I may mess with some partials on that stuff coming up again. I might, we'll see. I think partials work really well on max effort stuff if you're feeling a little fatigue in your joints sometimes. That's where a low rack pull, a bench block, things like that. Hey, Rufio, I'm very aware that people want that. And I've thought about that. The only problem is I don't know that I want to do that with a girlfriend, right? I don't want them catching grief. I actually keep my dating life completely off the internet these days. So any girl that I'm talking to or take on dates, I do not put it online at all. My relationship statuses will not be updated with I'm with so-and-so. It's just better that way. All right. Yeah, I'm aware a lot of people would like that, actually. I've actually had followers who are totally straight dudes who are like, I would actually join for that. Like, okay. But I'm also not out trying to talk chicks into doing my OnlyFans, you know. I did have one joke, and I don't know how serious she was. A friend of mine had said, I should totally like just put some oil on your arm and jerk it off like it's a big cock on your OnlyFans. And she, oh my God. I don't know that people would pay to see that. You never know. Give it some consideration, Coach. Yeah, I'm not in a hurry on it. But Rufio, yeah, go check it out. Rufio, no, join and just figure out how much stuff you want, and I can resend a lot of the stuff. I've done like 5, 6 sets of pay-per-view stuff. I just roll out to all the followers. I still have all of it, obviously. So yeah, we dispel all these silly myths with haters. This is how you know my haters are truly lying. Another example. Oh, we heard you have a tiny. I have an ex-girlfriend of yours saying you have a tiny dick, and it's like, okay. Notice I just roll my eyes at that. I'm like, really? Because the one that you said that it was too big and it hurt and she couldn't do certain positions. So what are you talking about? But I mean, guys, all right. But in any event, let's get over to training stuff. So, yeah. But at least we've dispelled that nonsense. Hey, review, you'll have to join and find out. Coach, if your OnlyFans ever became more lucrative than coaching, would you change your main occupation? Probably not. No, I'll probably always coach. I don't see myself ever not being a coach, at least part time. I just seriously, for me, coaching 20 years from now, I'll probably still coach a few lifters. Like, it's just not something I don't see myself giving that up. Like right now, dude, if I won the lottery, I don't see myself not coaching. So people always say things like, what would you do if you didn't need money like that as a career or job? Like, yeah, dude, if I had 5 million sitting in the bank right now, I would probably still coach 3 or 4 lifters. Why is GVS so jacked? Drugs, Photoshop. Yeah, that's a good and always like the idea of you always coaching. Yeah, absolutely. Currently Atomic? No, I'm not a sex worker. OnlyFans isn't sex work. You're not a sex worker if you are not doing stuff physically with other people. That's my opinion. And I will just leave it simply as I said the word currently. GVS really didn't like when you discussed some of his comments on your videos were dripping us all. He was mad. He mad. Although, guys, I'm about to have to wind this down. I just drank all that coffee. It kind of kicked in, and I'm on a really high fiber diet. Speaking of Justin, how much is funny you said that. How much fiber is enough right now? I eat 20. 20, that's decent. I probably get 40 grams or more a day, 40 to 50. And it's all in the evening during my feeding window. If you were to choose any fitness influencer to collab with on OnlyFans, that's a totally easy one. Hattie James. Like, I don't even need to think about that one. Damn, these guys must be vanilla if they think artistic photography is being a sex worker, right? Peppermint. I mean, dude, these guys are virgins. Straight up asking that. Right. But in any event, guys, I need to wind this down. I love you guys and gals, and I'll talk to you next time.